In beautiful question 8, we are asked to find both the perimeter and the area of the polygon that is plotted below. And we are asked to show all work. So let's start with area. So in terms of the area, I like to kind of divide and conquer. And if I look at this closely, I see this rectangle here. It's a pretty large rectangle and it represents a pretty big chunk of the entire shape. This particular rectangle has dimensions of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 6 by 7, which is 42 units squared. So part of my area is going to be this 42. Oops, I like how I covered up the 4. 42. Another pretty big chunk of this is this rectangle here. I'm ignoring that little triangle, so I've got this rectangle. This rectangle has dimensions of 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 by 4. So this has 12 units squared. And I can count those up, it's 12 of them. And the only thing that remains are these 3 little triangles, and fortunately they all are exactly the same. So if I could find the area of one of them, I could triple it, and that would be the area of all of them together. So looking at these triangles, right, I can see that they're part of rectangles in which we have this base of, I guess I could call this is a base of 3 and the height of 1. And I can see it's this little rectangle too here. It's half of this rectangle. Well, when I multiply 3 times 1, I get 3, but I don't have all 3. I have half of that. So these have areas of 3 halves, right? 3 halves. And over here, this one is 3 halves. So the area calculation is I'm going to have 42 plus 12 plus 3 times 3 halves. So together this is 54 plus would be 9 halves, and 9 halves is 4.5. So this is 54 plus 4.5, which should be 58.5 units. So the area is 58.5 units squared, square units. So next we're going to shift to the perimeter of the shape, and many of these pieces we can just count, but there are 3 pieces, and I'm going to highlight them in an orange. There are 3 pieces, and they are here, right? That's one of the pieces. This is another piece, and the other one is right here. It turns out we can't count those, right? Those are the hypotenuse of little itty bitty right triangles. And if I think about those right triangles, I could think about them over here. They have a height of 3 and they have a base of 1. So I've got legs of 1 and 3, and this is the hypotenuse that we have to find. Well, again, if I call this D and I want to figure out that distance, D squared is 3 squared plus 1 squared equals 9 plus 1 equals 10. So those distances are they're all the square root of the number 10. And I actually have 3 of those, right? So this is the part of the perimeter that's going to be the orange, those orange pieces that I marked. The only pieces that are not vertical and horizontal and cannot be counted, therefore. So let's look at the other pieces that I do have. If I look at point A and J, I can see J ends up at 12, and A is at the number 2. So I know 12 minus 2 is 10. So part of the perimeter is 10. I've got this 10 along the top, and then I have a 1 here. Then I've got my root 10. And then I've got this is a 3. I'll write that bigger, 3. And this is a 2. And then I got a root 10, and then this is a 2. And then I've got let's see, C starts at 3 and D ends at 9. So 9 minus 3 is, this is 6 long. Going up and down, C is at 2 to 6. 6 minus 2 is, this is 4 long. And I think I have all the pieces spelled out now. So if I was going to look at this closely, we have, I'm just going to go around, I'm going to ignore this, the root 10 parts, I'll add those at the end. But going around clockwise, there's a 10 plus a 1 plus a 3 plus a 2 plus another 2 plus 6 plus 4. So let me add those up. Not on a virtual calculator, but a physical one. Really, Robert, you're adding those? So disappointing. Let's see. I got 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 4 plus 10. So I've got a 28 there. So part of my perimeter is this 28, but then I also have this plus 3 of the square root of 10s. And I can leave my answer like that, right? This is considered an exact answer, right? That contains all the decimals of that irrational number. So I'll write it two ways. My perimeter is 28 plus 3 root 10. That's messy. 3 times the square root of 10 units. But then the other way I can write that is 28 plus 3 times the square root of 10. And that gives me 37.5. If I round to the nearest tenth, 37.5 units. All right, so 58.5 squared units was my area, and 37.5, that was rounded to the nearest tenth, is my perimeter.